Welcome back everybody, Sive here with the Forex Peace Army.com. Let's have a look once again on the gold market. So as on any other market, the progress after the Halloween holidays relatively small, so you can see in the recent three sessions stands in a really tight range. And I wouldn't call it overall picture that you see on the gold market is sophisticated, but there are a few tricks exist. So on the daily, why I'm showing you this pennant consolidation, because it might be important for making decision on the position taking, at least for somebody of you. So for me currently on the daily chart, this minor performance start looking like kind of the flag consolidation. This is important because usually when you see this type of action, it more suggests of possible upward continuation rather than returning back to the downside. So it's important when we start considering the patterns on the lower time frames. But for now, in general, on the daily chart, we do not have any signs that probable setup of this bread and butter trade is failing. So market still keeps chance on a possible upward reaction. Maybe it will be. It could get started a bit difficult, just because the previous thrust down was very strong, and market needs to struggle this existed bearish momentum first before it could show the acceleration to the upside. So on the 4-time frame chart, you could see that things that we discussed on the weekend has worked perfectly. So we said take a look, keep an eye on the possible grabber on the 4-time frame chart. If it will be formed, you can try and take the long position. So grabber has appeared precisely at the support area that we have specified, and you can see in the recent session market has shown more or less acceptable upward performance. Of course, this is not the one that we would like to get. We suggest and really hope that this will becoming something bigger for upward action. This is our target, by the way, for 192 that we're watching for. But as I said, starting point might be difficult because of this. Market needs by some calling around just make this bearish momentum to exhaust before bulls could get chances for pushing price higher. That's what we see, and actually this is going on right now. So with this whipsaw action, market is fading this momentum to the downside. But despite the small stress in the downside action, you can see that grabber has not been erased. It's not failed. It's still valid, and it suggests moving above this area. This makes me think that one of the patterns that might be formed here, it could be the butterfly to the upside, because that's a vital point for a butterfly, but market stands above it. Here we can see healthy reaction, and I'm not excluding the chance that here's might be the action to the upside. Yes, this butterfly target stands relatively close. It agrees with our ABCD. OP target has not been reached, so OP is 14.58, butterfly 40.60, just $10 above. But we're not actually care about these targets, because these targets will be just temporal, just because we're watching for this one. And what the steps market will pass through on the way to the 49 or 190, it's not very important. But even if we get action right there, it's already will be a really great performance. What the attractiveness of the current situation? Market stands very close as to the invalidation of the bullish grabber on the 4-time frame chart that stands right below the lows, as to invalidation point of the butterfly. Their potential risk is very small because it stands near the bottom of the pattern. Third moment is here. You could try to use even fine-tuning. If you take a look at these minor hand shorts that might be formed here, it could let you to save even more money and play stops even tighter. For instance, if you take position somewhere around 39.80 with this shoulder right arm here, it's probably on the 15-minute chart might be looking better. So market stands forming here, dropping to the 39.80. You take position, your stop might be placed just below the head, not necessary even placing right there. Although it will not be a mistake if you place the stop right below this area, because you're possessing with this big butterfly and the Bitcoin. So that's a lot of attractive moment stance with this. At the same time, what particular risk also might be? It might be if market will break it down, it could keep going lower with this downside ABCD pattern right to the 39.47 support. and this will be agreement support, and we could get different pattern, which is regardless triple to buy, which is also will be bullish. So the problem is that the breakout and erasing of this butterfly will not cancel the bullish background totally. Market will still keep chance on the possible rebound. Besides, don't forget that here we have also the XOP target, which is our initial ABCD. If you remember, we said that this is entry opportunity for the first entry opportunity. This is confluence support, AB equals CD OP target, and that's what we were considering for possible starting of the upper direction. And this has happened, but market now is returning right back down. So target of this ABCD of this extension XOP stands also around 39.47. So that might be the next level to watch for the entry. How you will deal with this situation is probably a bit personal. So your choice might be might depend on how risk you are, what actually assets you have, what your money management, what the part actually takes the gold market in your trading routine day by day. But in general, we could say that for conservative approach, maybe it makes sense to wait for this big pattern, because it will be at lower levels, it will get more clear background, and in fact this will be the last point where probably bulls could do something. Do not break into bullish context. This is a bit maybe not risky, but this is not the actually not the hope of the last resort. This is just one of the patterns that also might work. As a compromise, you could combine the both, just split position in parts. And for instance, if you're taking position here, butterfly is not started, you're waiting for this one, add more on this level and see what will happen. This is also possible. But right now we have these two possible stops that might work. So let's keep watching, see what will happen. In general, personally, I prefer, of course, the butterfly with this upper direction, starting of the upper direction. But even if we'll get this big Gartley's 222, we also will consider it and we'll try. So currently at this point, it is impossible to say what particular pattern will work, because both of them stand in the same direction and the difference between them very small. So you just need to find some options and ways how to eliminate the big risk with the dealing with them. That's actually what we see currently on the gold market. Let's see what will happen, and as usual, return back to discussion tomorrow.